Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kaifa haluk, labes. My name is Elliot Miller. I am a real estate professional and real estate investor. Hello, everyone. I'm trying something different, so it may not be live, even though I'm live. I'm trying something else out to where it's private. I want to thank my new subscribers and those that have taken the time to watch my videos and share them with their friends and families. I wholeheartedly appreciate that. I hope you all find value in them. We have people all around the world watching my channel. If you don't mind, drop your city, age, gender in the comment section. Be nice to see, even though I know by looking at the analytics. I had a few people from Indonesia watching, Bangladesh, people from different parts of Africa, and we always get people from the UK, Canada, and mostly the US watching. So it's very good. So I am excited about that and thankful, mashallah. When I started this YouTube content creation channel, my intention, and I just started in the end of December last year, my intention was I had already had it set up to where I had planned to have women from different countries that I know be in my video, and we were supposed to discuss relationship topics. But of course, the first young lady I went to do my video with, the first live video, she, I think, was like about 3 weeks or so, or maybe a month and a half or something, that I told her in advance. And then, of course, now I'm here, and she says, "Oh, I'm shy and I don't feel comfortable getting on camera." So that was crazy. And then, like, a couple of days later, when I did my first, I was like, I just need to get this out and done, right? Because this was part of my goal to at least start my content creation before the year was over. So I was like, I have to get it out. I have to just do it. So that's what I did, and I'm excited about it. Now, I'm excited about the YouTube content creation, but I learned my lesson not to invest in two things at once. Because of course, it's like I've spent so much money investing into this and into real estate. So I was just like, I'll never do that again, to invest in two things, two situations. And then I also left one of my jobs that I had of almost 18 years, since I was like 21 years old. So it was a big shift for me, but I'm learning and going through it. I think we all have tough times and situations that, some of us are dealing with things more or less, problematic than others. But, eventually, just like I always say, eventually you have to think about the times that God brought you through certain situations that you didn't see yourself getting out of. So I just try to keep a positive mindset. And I know it's tough giving someone, some support just by saying, hey, things are going to be okay, but we'll eventually get through. So, God willing, all will be well, inshallah. And matter of fact, when I was talking to this lady about my YouTube content that I was supposed to be starting in December, it always makes me laugh because even though she didn't want to do the content, then she says, well, and she's a good friend of mine. She says, and I don't usually call people friends, but she's nice. So eventually, she's very helpful when I was in Africa. So eventually, she says to me, what did she say? She's like, she would like to have a gentleman come with us, but then she was like, oh, I don't know if he's off work or so. And I was like, oh, God. So I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. So then I delivered my first, my live video, and she watched it. She was like, I don't like your content. And she said, why are you wearing suits? And you talking up there like you somebody's friend. I said, I always wear suits, and I am your friend. I said, that's what I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to talk to y'all as if I'm your friend. So I'm your friend. So I thought that was cute. Um, so yeah, and I was just talking to somebody about yesterday. I was like, man, like even today, it was so. Today was so long. Like I was, working on my content yesterday, and then I dedicated like Sundays is usually like my day to where I dedicate all day to content to make sure that I research what I'm talking about. Not only research, but get good information, have good value, so I could deliver that. Um, you know, to y'all. So y'all would be able to say, oh, he's not just making content. I'm actually researching and putting these things together to deliver some value to those that need it. So I hope this is helpful. The other thing is, I was like, I have to be the cameraman, I have to be the writer, the producer, the stylist, the makeup artist, which I'm a man's man. I'm not going to wear any makeup, but y'all get the picture. It's like me making a small little presentation or movie, and I prefer to be a little bit more relaxed and talk to you as if. So I'm looking at the camera, but I'm imagining like it's a best friend or something I'm talking about, which I don't really like to call people friends, but I'm just looking at the camera. So. Yeah. So today's topic, it's a sensitive topic. A young Arab Muslim woman asked me to speak about and give my thoughts about preserving her chastity. Give my thoughts on that. And I would like for everyone to be impartial and open-minded when I go over this. And it's my thoughts, but I'm also going to give my experience and some observational points that I'll make as well in this broadcast. Okay, so a young lady, she tells me that she and her friends are virgins, but they also know other girls that are in relationships with they're in relationships with men, but they know that some girls give up their virginity. But she was telling me that she hasn't had a long-term relationship because she knows that the men will want sex, and that she knows that she can't tell her parents, which in a previous broadcast, I mentioned that there was another young lady, kind of similar situation, but she was asking me to talk about sexual intimacy. And I made a couple points in that video, but this young lady is talking about giving my thoughts on her keeping her virginity or keeping her chastity until marriage. But yeah, she was telling me that her and a few of her friends, they're, a little upset and heartbroken at times that the relationship with the guy may not work because they know the guy would want sex. But then she also says that because of her culture, that even if the man, you say, even if the man is with them, he'll want sex, and she wouldn't know if the man will leave if she gave up sex, or just leave even if she didn't. So that's why, she asked the question. So I have a few thoughts about that. As Muslims, it's not permissible to have sex before marriage. Let me give a visual, and let me talk about what I mentioned in the last broadcast. So, in Muslim tradition, men and women, the parents try to arrange or to set up a meet, so that Muslim parents try to set up a meet for their children to meet a spouse. And sometimes what they do is they try to speak to their friends or someone they may know and try to marry. Set one or two dates so that, let's say, this young lady, her mother and father would eventually meet the parents of a guy, and eventually now they're bringing them together to sit down and talk about marrying one another. Now, I remember it was just in December, right around this time, of me doing my first video. This lady, no, so I had my buddy. So my buddy picks me up I was leaving from one city in Africa to another. I'm not telling all the details, but I'm leaving one city in Africa and taking the train to the other. And I had my buddy pick me up from the train station. So he's picking me up from the train station. And then now he's going to pick up his wife. So his wife sees me and she said, "Oh," he started telling his wife about me, because I never met her. His wife, I always, I was with him most of the time. I never met her, but I had dinner with them and everything. And so before we had dinner, the wife, she looked at me. She was like, "Oh," him and his wife. She was like, I got three nieces for you." And I'm like, "Dang." And she showed me like the picture of her niece. She said, "See, I got one. She's so and so. This is her name is blah blah blah." And she was a beautiful, beautiful woman. I'm like, "Dang." And she's like, "She's 19. I said, "Oh." Because my parents, you got to be 20 something to do something. So pretty young lady, but yeah. So that's the thing. It's like they try to arrange meets so that someone could marry their daughter, and I think it's a good thing for women to preserve their chastity. I mean, just like I was just thinking about this when the young lady asked me this question. It's like for the last 2 weeks, I put my my content on, you having a YouTube channel. It's imperative that you try to share your content so that you can get billions or millions of people on these different platforms like X, TikTok, what is there, Facebook, so that you can reach a broader audience. And I'm like, well, dang, every time I went to TikTok, and, even when I'm opening, I was like, now, I don't know if I did something, but I just downloaded the TikTok app. But every time I'm scrolling through or whatever, it's like there's a woman shaking her ass. And I'm like, God dang, what value is it that some women, or what is it that some women expect from a man when they're showing most of their body all the time? you know? And then the thing that's crazy is I've noticed that, like, just looking online and seeing this stuff, you notice that, okay, you showing your body to where you don't leave no mystery for a man, and then you get mad when men approach you in a certain way. I just don't understand it. Um, so I just don't get that. Um, so yeah, so that was something. But yeah, my buddy, it was funny. His wife tried to get me set up there, get me to arrange. I was like, let me see how she look. I had more, call myself having some wives going on here. So um, let's see. In the U.S., speaking about, since we're on the topic of, where I just mentioned about the TikTok thing, you see most women, and it's not just in the U.S. Some of these women that I noticed would be like in Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, whatever, and I'm thinking like, it's bowed. Um, but what I notice in the U.S., most women in the U.S., they don't want men that aren't experienced in having sex. Um, I've met a young lady um, years ago that told me, said that her friend was a virgin, and that once her friend got married, she felt like as if she was depressed because she started looking at explicit, the CORN word, kind of. So she said she didn't know that those things come in different sizes. And I'm like, wallahi, you know, yes, you want the big one too. Um, so yeah, um, wow. But I looked at some research earlier today, and it was saying that today there are more men that, well, it says about 58% of men that are virgins today, and a lower percentage of women are virgins, which there's still a large percentage, but there's more men that are virgins today than women. And I saw another study that said that 21%, was it 21%? I believe it said that, not 21%. I saw another study today that said uh, women lose their virginity at 21 years of age. Like, it's like an average. They did a study, and it would say like most of the women in that particular study said that they lost their virginity at 21. Sometimes it was 4 years younger that they lost their virginity. Okay. Now this young Muslim woman that's asking me this question about maintaining her virginity, but also wanting to date. Now, just like I mentioned, uh, Muslim women and Muslim men, they're not allowed to date. Uh, they're supposed to, I guess, leave it up to their families. But Muslim parents have to start realizing that their sons and daughters are going to universities, they're working together with the opposite sex. So they have to kind of ease up on some of the uh, restrictions because they're very strict and they want to remain traditional. But the other thing with this is what I've noticed, because I've talked to many Muslim women, and what I found that is like most of them don't really want the guy that the family tries to pick for them. They want to pick their own spouse. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. Uh, and it's also haram for the family to force their children to want to marry that spouse that they had in mind. Now, a gentleman told me years ago something, and I thought about it, and I said, okay, this is possibly true. He said that, Elliot, I imagine if a man is a virgin and a woman is a virgin, it would be okay if they preserve their chastity until marriage. He said there will be no problem. Now, when I thought about today's society and Muslim men and Muslim women going out, even though you want to be traditional and preserve chastity, now you're going out meeting people and may not be that you are out of your parents' you're not under your parents' supervision when you're out in the street. So you're out meeting people, doing things, or maybe you're doing things behind your parents' back and going out meeting the opposite sex. And now it's like you're developing a relationship. And I believe the problem comes in is when someone feels as if they're owed something. Some women, I've noticed, most Muslim women, when you go out with them, you have to pay for everything. And that's cool. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. But most men aren't going to be fine with it. In some countries, men and women split the bill 50-50. Or they pay for their portion of the bill. And this is what the difference of the different cultures of being in countries like this to where, what is it like? It's almost like, I heard this saying, it said, disappointment comes when expectations don't meet reality. Well, in the first place, as Muslims, you're not supposed to be dating the opposite sex and trying to do things the traditional way. Now, there's an old saying that you probably heard from your parents, your grandparents, or your great grandparents that said, don't take anything from a man without being prepared to reciprocate in some way, whether it be emotional, physical, or some action. And in this, if you grasp that, what it's saying is if a man is doing something for you, don't think that he's doing it just because he got a good heart. If a man is spending his hard-earned money on you, taking you out to cozy breakfasts, dinners, showering you with gifts, giving you his attention and resources, what do you think he wants? I'll give you a hint. Look at me at the camera, tuck your chin, lean in 45 degrees, and there you go. I also think that if you want to date the opposite sex and you know you're a Muslim woman, or even if you're not a Muslim woman, you should tell the other individual up front your intentions about you wanting to remain a virgin till marriage, and seeing what they think, or try to negotiate of coming to some type of concessions with each other to make the relationship work. Because you don't want to waste the other person's time, and you don't want to get your heart broken. Or, like I always like to say, and I like this from Minister Farrakhan, he says, the heart has no feelings, it's the mind. But you don't want to waste people's time, because eventually it will surely come back when someone wastes your time that you were into. So be mindful how you treat people. I'm going to give a visual to the young lady and maybe others that can comprehend in this. If you've taken your hard-earned money and you are preparing a meal, let's say you, I was about to say, I thought I had subscribers. I was like, I don't have that thing on there. But anyways, so let's say you are preparing a meal, okay? If I'm preparing a meal, no, not me, you. Let's say you are preparing a meal and you went out and spent hundreds or whatever of dollar, because you know food is expensive. I'm just using as an example. Let's say you went out, bought some food, you've made some lentil soup, and you were so fancy you put vegetables in it. You've made some Turkish lamb and beef skewers. You've made baklava, sweet dessert, and you've got the almond milk to go with it, or some Turkish Iran. And let's say you felt so good, you went and you bought and you made some chicken shawarma for lunch. And you also put together some a nice little tuna salad. You got your tuna and you cut up some apples and your cranberries in there. And you made a nice little tuna sandwich and also your chicken shawarma for the rest of the week. And so you got all this good food in front of you that you made and prepared. After that, you're going to want a plate, right? Now, what a man is asking, if a man is taking you out and doing all this stuff and courting you and buying you nice things and going to nice dinners and cozy breakfasts and things like that, in reference to the meal, We ain't trying to get you to uh, feed a village, feed the man. So this is the issue, that men aren't wanting to feel used by women when they do this. And I think one of the problems for this is that we see what goes on in other people's relationship and through being on social media, that these things happen, So that's a point that I want to make there, um, along with the other points I've made about maybe if this woman would be with another man that's a virgin and be willing to wait until marriage to have sex, or you let your parents decide and you stay on the porch. You don't come outside and try to be out in the world and do what everybody else do, but at the same time, I believe if you talk to a gentleman and you let him know up front what your intentions is. I mean, I use this Kevin Samuels term because it was funny. This woman, he said the uh, virgin price. So this woman called on his show, on his YouTube channel one day, and the woman, I guess she was trying to say she has so much high expectations for a man, and the man has to do so much for her. And he was like, well, you can't do so much for her because she's not a virgin. He mentioned the virgin price. That was funny. But yeah, so men aren't courting you to get nothing in return. But this is why the saying goes, you don't take nothing from a man without expecting to do something in return. I would say most people shouldn't expect so much from a person they just met up front. One of the best dates I was on, I say one of the best, but I mean, I've had plenty of good dates, but this young lady, like, and I say dates, it wasn't a date. She called me and asked me to go to work. Now, even though she's a beautiful young lady and I liked her, she asked me to pick her up for work. But before work, we went out to get something to eat. And one thing that I liked was that she pulled out her wallet first and she says, I'll pay. And I said, well, this is good. You don't have to pay. So she says, no, I want to pay because you picked me up to take me to work. So I'll go ahead and pay for the meal. So I thought that was sweet, but I still didn't let her pay. So the thing is, you have, a good bit of people that are expecting people to just do things for them. And I think that's the wrong mindset to have, because not everybody's going to be willing to do that. Um, in dating, I think, well, it's a little difficult when you talk to someone from a different culture and you're trying to understand um, what they expect when dating. But if you two talk about it up front and are okay with it, then it may make sense to um, try to work that out versus just thinking that someone should just is obligated to just do that for you. Um, so that's my thoughts on it. I'm surprised this broadcast went pretty fast, I assume. To the young lady that asked me to give my thoughts on this topic, I appreciate you for being vulnerable to want me to discuss and hear my thoughts. Um, I appreciate that. Um, I hope I left you some value. I hope you understood some of the points uh, that I tried to make in this broadcast. Um, in closing, I appreciate all my subscribers. Um, this video is different. I made it private so that I want to try something with the YouTube algorithm. So I didn't make it live to see if there would be more, if there were people that, subscribers that came up. I want to try something different to see if I was able to get more views and more subscribers, putting it on a different setting. But I appreciate all my new subscribers, my subscribers that have been with me since the end of last year, December, beginning of this year up until now. Appreciate those that have shared my content. Also, I have, let's see, I didn't put it up, but I have, should see it now. There's a Cash App, PayPal, and a link for Patreon if anybody wants to join. I have the Patreon listed in the description of my YouTube channel. And what I want to do with that is do something outside of YouTube to where we can, depending on the level, I would like to go live, once or twice a month, show some of the behind the scenes things that I do, or um, I also want to the people I network with, try to network with those that are interested in uh, creating their own business or learning more about real estate or need help with accounting. So I want to have that. And then the higher tier, which is the last tier, I want us to be able to network in a specific country, not in the U.S., but in a specific country, enjoy ourselves, network, um, and also give back to a certain charitable organization. Um, but yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this broadcast, and I thank you all for watching. Those that stayed to the end of this and watched, thank you, and I appreciate you all. Shukran jazilan.